Live from the campus of the University of Alabama, it's WVUA 23's coverage of the 2018 National Championship Parade. Brought to you by Ziegler. Season to Please Meats.
And welcome in, everybody, live to the University of Alabama campus. We're right here on University Boulevard. I'm WVUA 23 Sports Director Gary Harris, joined by WVUA 23 Assistant Sports Director Brandon Cameron for our live coverage of the National Championship Parade for National Championship number 17, as well as the ceremony at the nearby Walk of Champions. And Brandon, they're not wasting any time. Here comes the 18-wheeler right behind us.
They're coming right behind us. We saw it starting over the last couple minutes. You can see right there the Alabama truck getting ready to go, followed by the Alabama cheerleaders, and we're looking forward to an exciting parade here. Big crowd out today.
Absolutely gorgeous day. We've had so much cold weather, but this is a Chamber of Commerce today. The crowd is huge. There is the big semi that carries all the Alabama equipment on the road. As I said, this is championship number 17 that the University of Alabama is celebrating, but more remarkably, Brandon, the 5th in the last 9 years under Nick Saban. And remember, the Tide played for it last year. So the 2017 National Championship won in the 2018 National Championship game over Georgia, 26-23 in overtime. The 5th national title for Nick Saban at Alabama, is 6th overall.
Yeah, part of what fans are going to see today, besides the actual parade itself, is at the Nick Saban statue right near the Walk of Champions. They added 2017, and there's room for more. So we'll see how far he goes. There's still a few more spots for him to fill up.
I'm glad they built it with room for more, because I think they're going to need it. Here's this beautiful 18-wheeler. The process begins here. Crimson Tide football. Everything about this program is first class, even in the way they haul their equipment, Brandon. That is a beautiful tractor trailer right there.
You know, I noticed when we were covering the national championship, you saw Georgia's semi, and it looked very similar to Alabama's, but a few numbers missing from it on the back.
A lot of things in Georgia, since Kirby Smart got there, looking similar to Alabama. Here are the UA cheerleaders, national championship caliber cheerleading squad, just like the football team. And, you know, football, as you're seeing from this parade, if you happen to be new to Alabama and you're just tuning in, it really is 12 months out of the year. They say we live it here at Alabama. Brandon, that really is the case. It never really ends.
Yeah, it's been a grind, you know, in a very good way. A long season that capped off with the 17th National Championship, as you mentioned. But here we are a couple weeks later for the parade, and then, you know, it continues. Senior Bowl next week. We got signing day a couple weeks later. So it continues, and that's how you build a championship program, as you don't let up even in the quote-unquote off season.
All right, here are the Crimsonettes and the $1 Million Band playing Yay Alabama. Let's enjoy.
Gary, you've been to these before. What do you think of the crowd? Is it similar? Is it bigger, smaller?
You know, I obviously the one following the 2009 National Championship, it was in the stadium, and it was slammed in 2010. I think this one, based on the eye test, is the best crowd we've had for the last, say, 3. I thought 2 years ago was a good crowd. The one following the 2012 championship was a good crowd, but it was so cold. I think this one today tops those two crowds. This is the best one we've had in a while. And I know all the people watching at home really appreciate us being quiet for a moment and letting them enjoy Yay Alabama from the $1 Million Band. And Brandon, you know, you hear me say this quite often, as big a part as the football team is of all this, and that's the biggest part. The fans, the booster groups, the students, and that $1 Million Band. That $1 Million Band is part of the core of Alabama football.
You talk about how this is a whole program, and it's not, as you mentioned, just the football team. And we saw the cheerleaders, we saw the band, and there's so much that goes into this. And we're going to see a lot of these, you know, not just the football players walking today. When we see the training staff, obviously, the support staff, of course, the coaches, and everyone involved with this program. It's championship caliber. You don't become champions. You don't win 5 championships in 9 years by having a support staff that isn't willing to support everything that goes into building a championship program.
Yeah, some of the support personnel go right now. In fact, Dr. Jimmy Robinson, team physician, just threw us some beads, the national championship beads, and almost made the stage, Brandon. I think they landed just a little short right next to Johnny Congdon, our cameraman there. But they've got the Mardi Gras type beads, white beads with the 2017 national championship logo hanging off. Okay, here comes the strength and conditioning staff, and yeah. I don't have to tell you much about Scott Cochran, and there he is. But he has an entire staff. It's the best in the country. The strength and conditioning program here is being mimicked all over the United States. It's a huge group of people, and they truly never stop. And there he is, Mr. Yeah.
With his 2 daughters, and he is a big part of this program, and the players talk about it all the time, what Coach Cochran has provided. You see his energy, so it's not just what he does in the weight room, it's what he does for this team, for inspiration and passion. I mean, he brings it all to this program, a big part of what has happened here recently under Coach Saban.
And I saw Terry Jones go by, former Alabama player under Coach Bryant, Green Bay Packers great. His son, Terry Jones Jr., was a terrific tight end, an NFL player, and he went by with that strength and conditioning staff. We're getting close to some players coming through. In fact, the captains are, you saw them go by earlier, Bradley Bozeman, Sean Dion Hamilton, Rashawn Evans, and Mika Fitzpatrick, carrying the national championship trophy. They made it by while we were talking about Terry Jones. And this elephant right here, this is pretty authentic, my friend.
That is a good elephant right there. We've seen some good ones, but a championship caliber, Big Al.
You know what? I wouldn't be shocked if that thing jumped down here from the, from that wagon it's on and started walking on its own. It looks so real. More players coming through. The quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, number 2 and number 13. Whoa! Hey, Brandon, that was coming right for you. All right. And I'll tell you what, we're not only broadcasting this parade, we're involved in it, man. You caught one, and I got one up just in time just to take. I was about to take that one in a kisser. Did you see that one?
That's right. I was a little bit of Devontae Smith right there until that second one came at me, and then I fumbled it.
I got my hand up just in time. More players coming through, man. This is so much fun. I see Bo Scarborough, Nick Jacobs, Brian Robinson, the running backs. They're bringing them through in position groups. The offensive line coach, Brent Key, just went by, sitting in the back of a car with his wife. Here, the offensive line group, Brandon, coming through right now.
Wonderful job the offensive line did in that national championship game. Again, they lose Jonah Williams, their star left tackle, halfway through the game, and really filled in great. Alex Leatherwood, the freshman, came in and did an admirable job in leading the Tide to the championship.
Guy's kind of small, don't you think?
Yeah, just a little bit.
I think the average weight's about 315. They probably need to be at about 325 next year. That's my guess.
We'll have to talk to Scott Cochran about that. Those guys weren't big enough. There's Joe Panunzio, you see, special teams coordinator and tight ends coach. Did a great job this year. You know, they lost Miller Forstall at that tight end position, and the tight end still had a really great season.
Something else great about the weather is, these coaches riding on the back of these cars are thankful that it's warm. Otherwise, that could be pretty cold. A whole big group of players coming up. Another group. I see Cam Sims right there. I see
Jerry Jeudy. We see Ronnie Clark.
You got wide receivers. Ronnie Clark was in there. Another big group of players coming through.
Some of the tight ends, receivers, running backs. There's Cam Stewart, a walk-on.
Yeah, saw Mill Forstall back there,
Andy
coming back from knee injury. And think about this, Brandon. I mean, these players are used to the spotlight at Alabama, but this has got to feel so good to be walking through. Here's Michael Loxley coming through. Coach Loxley, you just see him going out of your screen right now. We expect him to be named offensive coordinator and the play caller as well as the quarterback's coach, Brandon, any day now.
That's right. He's joined by Calvin Ridley, who declared early for the NFL draft, so he spent his last season. There's Devontae Smith, the hero in overtime, right there waving to the camera. Obviously made the big play, the game-winning touchdown play.
It just keeps on coming. J.K. Scott, I guess because when you're the punter, that's your position group right there. The punter. He came through by himself. Tosh LaPoy riding along with Matt Wilson, Tosh LaPoy's wife, outside linebackers coach, co-defensive coordinator. Brandon, we've talked about this. We're expecting him, again, nothing official on Loxley or Tosh LaPoy, but I do feel as though Tosh LaPoy will be calling the defense next year.
The only coordinator we really know for next year is special teams coordinator that was recently announced as Jeff Banks, but other than that, you're right. Offensive, defensive coordinator positions technically open. We could have just seen the two of them driving by.
Here come the linebackers, and what a group, and what a testament to this championship team. There's Vandarius Cowan, freshman. This linebacking core was just, I've never seen anything like it as far as injuries during the season. And they came back from it.
Sorry, Gary. You see Terrell Lewis right there, number 24, and really he's a big part of that story because injured in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on the first game of the season against Florida State. He comes back, makes a big impact in the playoffs, both in the Sugar Bowl and especially in the national championship. And talking to him throughout the playoffs, he almost took it personal that he got injured and that they told him he wouldn't return. He came back, and he's a big reason that Alabama is celebrating this parade right now.
We saw defensive line coach Carl Dunbar go by. Here are the defensive linemen, and anybody that knows me know I've said this for years. If you want to judge an SEC football team, look at the defensive linemen. That'll tell you all you need to know about where they're at in terms of the maturity of their program. Alabama's defensive line, and Raekwon Davis is having some fun with the fans, but Alabama's defensive line since Nick Saban got here has been as good as any in the country. Look at Raekwon there. He's giving you a shout out there, Brandon. Brandon getting a little high five action from Raekwon Davis. But you know what I'm saying. If you can't compete on the defensive line in this league, you're not going to win games.
Yeah, Raekwon Davis was absolutely incredible. Poised for an even bigger season next year. He could be the anchor of this defensive line next year. Some people have called Raekwon Davis the best player on the Alabama football team next season.
More of the $1 Million Band. Let's enjoy again. There he is, Big Al. Nobody stirs the crowd, not Coach Saban, not the players, not the band. Nobody stirs the crowd up better than Big Al.
Yeah, he's one of the best mascots, if not the best mascot in all of college sports. He's so fun, and kids love him. I know I got 3 young kids, and their favorite part of this Alabama football team, Big Al.
You're right. I don't have children, so I don't guess I'll think about that. But as a dad, 3 young children, I bet that's the case, isn't it? He's their favorite.
Yeah, my son, he comes to a lot of the sporting events, not just football around here, and he's always out looking for Big Al.
Uh-oh. The man and the first lady of Alabama football, Nick and Terry Saban. Should I say more?
Of course, they get the biggest ovation. Coach Saban, all of this, it just isn't possible without him and the work he's done here in the last 9 seasons.
So much talk about the staff turnover. I've said it on the air, on Tider Insider TV, on Crimson Tide Kickoff. Only one on-field coach remains from 2 years ago, that national championship team, Burton Burns. People are worried about turnover. Be worried when he leaves. Otherwise, you're in great shape. Don't worry. As long as Miss Terry giving us the roll tide from the back of the Mercedes there. Of course, it's got to be a Mercedes for Coach Saban since he's part of a Mercedes-Benz dealership in Birmingham. Here we are back, and man, I tell you what, I'd do this even if we didn't get paid to do it. Wouldn't you, Brandon?
Oh, this is great. This is just so exciting, the energy around this program. The fans are loving this, and they have every reason to. It's been an incredible run, and they should enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah, I love it, too, for the fans. And everything's going to move over to the Walk of Champions. We're going to stay with you. But I love it for the fans because, let's be honest, when Nick Saban first got here, Brandon, back in 2007, he said, listen, you fans have to answer the call. And the program had gone 6-7 the year before. The first year Coach Saban was here with 7-6, but that spring of 2007, and this is before this was happening all over the country, 90,000+ filled Bryant-Denny Stadium for that 8A game. And Coach Saban says, for the record, that's when I knew. That's when I knew we were going to win championships, because of the way the fans came out for that 8A game, that first 8A game in 2007.
It has an impact. You know, obviously what this program's done and having Coach Saban and what they've been able to accomplish is intriguing to recruits. But when recruits come out, or they're watching on TV and they see this, you think they don't want to be a part of this? You think they don't want to be walking down University Boulevard after another national championship? It has an impact, and the fans are a huge part of what Coach Saban has accomplished here.
And a lot of those recruits are here today. This is a big recruiting weekend for the University of Alabama. Okay, the parade procession has come through. Everybody's making their way to the Walk of Champions for the ceremony. Brandon, this is a good time for us to talk about how we got here. You know, how Alabama was on the brink of losing that championship game down 13-0 against Georgia just 12 days ago over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Jalen Hurts had gotten Alabama to that point, but at halftime, Coach Saban made a change that really turned the fortunes of that game, going to Tua Tagovailoa. And I think we may have some highlights of how Alabama got to this point with a remarkable comeback in the national championship game.
It really was. I mean, sometimes you know, I forget how amazing it is what we saw. I mean, we know from the finish of the game how good this game was, but you think of all just the storylines that went into it, and we're seeing here. I mean, Tua came in at halftime when the offense was really doing nothing up until that point, and he just put together, I mean, look at this. Look at what he's doing there. I mean, for a true freshman in the national championship against one of the best defenses in the country, he just was incredible, both with his feet and his arm.
I think that was the biggest play of the game, because that was a 3rd and 7. He got the first down. They went on to score the first touchdown of the game on this drive, and I think Tua just he took charge. And you know, how blessed is Alabama to have two quarterbacks the caliber of Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa, but even more so, two young men the caliber of Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, we talked to Jalen after the game, and there are some quarterbacks who wouldn't have been able to put on, or who would have put on a face or would have tried to. You know, this was real for Jalen Hurts. This was who he truly was, and it was graceful, it was classy. He had all the admiration in the world for what his partner in crime, Tua, was able to do, and he was just excited to be a national champion. And let's make this clear. Tua led an unbelievable comeback in the second half and overtime in that game. But this is Jalen Hurts' championship as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, he put this team in position to win, and he was incredible. And both of them are just as classy men as you will find.
Well, you said it. I mean, you know, I think there could have been, if this was a different team, I think you might have seen a quarterback pulled for the first time in his career in the biggest game of his life, that might have just sat over there on the bench and been by himself and maybe been quiet. I won't say sulking, because I don't know, but we got none of that from Jalen Hurts. As you said, he was Tua's biggest supporter, just as Tua had been his biggest supporter during the season. That's what team is. Team is when the outcome of the group is more important to you than your individual success. Yeah, and that's how you win championships.
Yeah, we had talked to Tua the week earlier during Sugar Bowl week, and he was just praising Jalen and what Jalen's been able to do. He said he enjoyed watching Jalen succeed. I'm sure he wants to play. Every player wants to play. But he really enjoyed kind of the process of how this team got there. And we saw the same from Jalen. I mean, he was as energetic as we've probably seen him on the bench.
5th national championship for Nick Saban, going along with 2009, 2011, 2012, and 2016. or 2015, just barely missed out in 2016. You see everyone getting in position for the national championship celebration and speeches. We'll go to that live as soon as they're ready. Brandon, we saw the coaches going through, and we were talking about the fact that there is some coaching turnover. This might be a good opportunity to talk about the staffs. Let's begin with the offense, the way we think it's going to look. Again, nothing official on Mike Locksley or some of these offensive coaches, but we got a pretty good idea how we think this offensive staff is going to look like.
Yeah, like you said, there's still some movement along it, and you know, part of that has to do with, so Locksley this year was co-offensive coordinator and the wide receivers coach. Well, now we expect him to be named offensive coordinator, and they're expected to bring in Carl Scott as the wide receivers coach. So here's what we know and don't know. The offensive coordinator, I put an asterisk there, not confirmed. The expectation is Locksley will be OC, co-offensive coordinator, expected to be Josh Gaddis with wide receivers coach. Burton Burns expected to come back as running backs coach, as he's been. Offensive line, Brent Key is still the offensive line coach. And tight ends, Joe Panunzio technically still the tight ends coach, although we think there's a possibility he's going to be moved off the field.
The defensive staff, again, with Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee, Derek Ainsley with the Raiders. But, you know, Toss was already the co-defensive coordinator and outside linebackers coach. He just didn't call the defense. Pruitt did. We feel like he'll be the guy making the defensive calls. Already announced Jeff Banks, the special teams coordinator, coming in. Of course, Pete Golding already announced. He watched the team practice during the national championship and semifinal practices, and we could see a co-defensive coordinator distinction with him. Again, Carl Scott, not announced by the university, but all signs indicate that he is going to be the defensive backs coach. In fact, the University of Louisiana Lafayette has already announced the hiring of a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
which
I
was
made
his
the mistake.
position.
Carl Scott expected to be the secondary coach here. And Golding, he is a defensive assistant. That has been confirmed. We just don't know for sure if it will be inside linebackers. That's an expectation. So we'll have to see when those come official.
Now, could there be some more turnover? Possibly. We will see. But the coaching staff's going to have a new look next season. But as I said earlier, that's common under Nick Saban. I mean, you can go through the offensive coordinators, Major Applewhite, Jim McElwain, Doug Nussmeier, Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian for one game, Brian Dable for one season, defensive coordinators, Kevin Steele. Of course, Kirby Smart was in that role for a long time, but now Jeremy Pruitt, and we'll be on to a fourth coordinator. Here's Greg Byrne, Brandon, at the podium.
First person I want to thank is Mother Nature. How about this weather for all of us? As we celebrate our 17th national championship at the University of Alabama. It's been an honor and a privilege for this last year to serve as your athletic director. I can't tell you how much admiration Regina and I have for this wonderful university. But one person I want to recognize right off the bat is a guy that did a great job as AD, a great job as a football player, and a wonderful job as a businessman, and that's Mr. Bill Battle right here in the front row. Not only do we have the best football program in the country, we've got the best president, we've got the best chancellor, the trustees, wonderful conference from the SEC led by Greg Sankey, and we've got the best dang fans in the land. Isn't that right? Congratulations to our student athletes, the guys on the team. What a great job they did. Great job by our coaching staff led by Coach Saban. The staff that supports them around them 365 days a year. They all deserve a great round of applause, don't they? A few quick facts. We've been on a historical run with 5 championships in the last 9 years. We're the only team to advance to the college football playoff in each year of its 4-year existence. Bill Hancock, we appreciate you being a part of that. And then a total of 27 degrees were awarded to the student athletes that were on the field representing the Alabama Crimson Tide in New Orleans and Atlanta. I want you to know we are working behind the scenes to continue to support Coach Saban and the Alabama football program for the future. Each and every person that is here is critical for our success being part of the best fan base in the country. We cannot take the success for granted by any stretch. Each of you being at every game for all 4 quarters, continue to travel like you do, being at A-Day, It separates us from our competition. It helps us in recruiting. It helps motivate the guys behind me. It helps motivate our coaches. And finally, we don't have the best college football coach in the country. We've got the best coach in the country, do we not? The leadership that he and Miss Terry have shown our football program, our university, our community, through Nick's Kids, through Habitat for Humanity, the 17th house is about to be built. For the state of Alabama, thank you to both of you for everything you have done for our university and for what's ahead in the future. Thank you for everybody being here, and roll Tide.
Thank you, Greg. Joining us next at the podium is Judge Terry Alarcon. He's the former president of the All-State Sugar Bowl, and he has a very special presentation to make. Judge, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me to be here. I'm an alumnus of the school and a former president, and I deeply appreciate this opportunity. This year marked the 16th appearance by the Crimson Tide in the Sugar Bowl. And while that number is significant, what is most significant to the Sugar Bowl is the memories that you've given us and to our tradition and our history. There's probably a few of you in the audience that may remember some of these memories. The '79 goal line stand against Penn State, the 1993 victory against Miami, and obviously this convincing victory this year against Clemson. No university means more to the All-State Sugar Bowl than the University of Alabama, and that's the message I was sent here to deliver. We're very grateful for the opportunity you've given us to become one of the premier bowls in the country, and we'll be forever grateful for our relationship. And with that thought in mind, I have the distinct pleasure of presenting this Sugar Bowl trophy, and I can promise you I didn't spend enough time in the weight room to lift this up, so I'm going to ask Coach Saban to step up and accept this trophy on behalf of the administration of the University of Alabama, his remarkable coaching staff, this incredible football team, and you, this magnificent fan base. Coach.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, please welcome Gary Darnell. He's the Associate Executive Director of the American Football Coaches Association. Coach.
On behalf of Todd Berry, the Director of American Football Coaches Association, we join the Crimson Tide in yet another tremendous year of seeing yet another national championship come to Tuscaloosa and the great state of Alabama. The FCA represents football coaches from youth to the NFL since 1922. One of our obligations is to have formed a board comprised of 63 active football coaches in a cooperative manner with the CFP to select who is the best college football team in the United States. That process seems to have gotten very comfortable with traveling to Tuscaloosa. The success and excellence portrayed by Coach Saban and his teams has not been matched, nor will they be matched anytime soon. With me today is Heath Tilley, the Vice President of Amway America Supply Chain and presenting sponsor of the Coaches Trophy. Now, I got an interesting note from someone. I have a note here from Waterford Crystal, and it reads, Waterford Crystal, Waterford, Ireland, the maker of the Crystal Ball Trophy, and it reads, Mr. Darnell, if you run into Mr. Saban, please tell him we have enjoyed making the 6 crystal balls his teams have won. He says, tell him we appreciate his business. And then they added a PS, tell him we are ready to start production on the 7th. So today we present the Coaches Trophy Crystal Ball to the 2017 National Football Champions, Alabama. The Crystal Ball has been presented for 31 years, since 1986. It is truly a special award for special people who do special things. Coach Saban, please accept the trophy on behalf of the football coaches, players, all football programs, Amway teams, and the truly great Alabama fans and all fans of all great sports. Thank you. Coach, I trust you.
The most pressure-packed assignment of the entire day right there. Well done. This year's senior class posted a 53-5 record over the last 4 seasons. That is an NCAA record for victories. The class has also been a part of 3 SEC championships, 4 college football playoff appearances, and 2 national championships. Now please join me in welcoming each of the 2017 captains to the podium. First is first-team All-American, senior linebacker, Rashaan Evans. Rashaan.
First I want to thank the great fans of the University of Alabama. Y'all have supported us for I don't know how long. I mean, I've been here for 4 years and been able to be a part of this great organization and be able to experience all the things. And I also want to thank the trainers as well. The whole team has been able to go through so much adversity just with being through injuries, and the trainers have done a great job of just keeping us healthy and being able to play at a high level. I also want to thank the coaching staff for giving us all the tools that we need to go out there on the field and just be the best players that we could possibly be. I also want to thank Coach Saban for giving us the blueprint to be the best people in life. And, I just want to thank everyone for just coming together and just being there for all of us in that last game. And it's just been a great experience for me this whole 4 years, and Roll Tide.
Next is consensus second-team All-American and first-team All-SEC, and a guy who knows how to propose. Senior offensive lineman Bradley Bozeman.
So 5 years ago, about to the date, I was sitting in the same seats as you guys were sitting in as a recruit, knowing that I was about to join something pretty special. And today I stand here a part of something pretty special. Just want to thank all of y'all for making this so special. This journey has been unreal. I know these guys back here enjoy every bit of it, every bit of the support, every bit of the hard work that y'all put in getting here. And, these guys work their butts off and they deserve every bit of this. Thanks to our families, our friends, all of our support staff, all our trainers, our coaches, Coach Saban, thank you for the opportunity that you've given me. This has been unreal for me, and just thank you. Roll Tide.
There's a line in our great fight song. It says, Bama's pluck and grit have writ her name in crimson flame. Nobody epitomizes the pluck and grit of the Crimson Tide more so than our next captain, senior linebacker, Sean Dion Hamilton.
Man, what a crowd. It's just so amazing seeing all these Crimson Tide fans, coming out and showing their support. Y'all are the best fans in the world, and, we thank y'all for that. This season's been a rocky season, with all the injuries that we've had. But, as a team, we came together and, we accomplished our goals. So, thanks to the coaching staff, training staff, the academic staff, thank y'all for all y'all support. And, coming from a recruit perspective, I came here because, I wanted to play football at the highest level, compete for a national championship, and get my degree. And, I'm proud to say that, I'm a 2-time national champion, 3-time SEC champion, and I got my degree, and I'm finishing my master's degree in May. So. But last but not least, Roll Tide.
And now please welcome first-team All-American, winner of the Bednarik Award and Thorpe Awards, junior defensive back, Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, man. These last 2.5 years, 3 years have been a whole lot of fun. I really appreciate all the support from y'all, the fans, and everybody that's out here today. Y'all really mean a lot to me, and y'all have a place in my heart forever. And me and my family, we came a long way. Coach Saban, like Razor said, he just gave us the blueprint to how to be a great man on and off the field. And me and my family, again, is just extremely grateful for a man like him coming into our life. And university, I love this place, I love the campus, I love the relationship that I formed here. And I want to thank God also for everything that he's done for not just myself, but for my family, for my team, and everything that he's allowed us to get through. And, I just want to say thank you to everybody here. Thank you to my family, to the fans, to the coaches, to the training staff, whoever. And also shout out to the person right there, 821 miles. That's a nice little trip. So, no matter where you go, you're not going to get fans like that. And we really appreciate everything that you've done for us and all the support. And God bless and Roll Tide.
Got a little task for the captains here in just a moment. But right now, please welcome to the microphone a gentleman under whose leadership the Southeastern Conference has continued to excel and raise the bar as America's Conference of Champions. Please welcome Commissioner Greg Sankey.
Thank you, Chris. We have an advertising slogan. It just means more. And my friends and colleagues ask me, well, what do you mean it just means more? So for the photographers up here in front, if you will take a picture of the fans here today, you are what makes it mean more. Your passion, your interest, your commitment is important to all of us in the Southeastern Conference. Monday, January 8th was a remarkable day. I'll stop and you can chant. We'll make a new ad out of it. That chant was in the Sugar Bowl after your competitor, the University of Georgia, captured the Rose Bowl victory. That chant was in Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium as two teams played in a remarkable evening for the national championship. The second time since 2011 that's happened. Both times it's been the SEC. In fact, the SEC remarkably is the only conference to have that happen in the modern era. What's even more remarkable is standing here today, what's been accomplished by these young men, these coaches, your head coach behind me, is more difficult than it's ever been. Remember, our two teams were the underdogs in the semifinal games. They overcame the expectations and earned their way to that championship game in Atlanta. But you've also heard a theme today that I think is really important for us to stop and consider. I didn't see the championship presentation in Atlanta because I was standing behind Bradley Bozeman, who should be named Mount Bozeman. And I couldn't see on the front of his uniform, beneath the SEC logo, it says graduate. Sean Dion has one of those as well. In fact, there are 27 young men who played that night, who are participating on that team, who have earned their degrees at the University of Alabama. You know, there were 13 from the University of Georgia. We had 40 young men who'd done exactly what we hoped, played at the highest level of competition, and earned their degrees from two great universities. Thank you, Coach Saban, for your emphasis beyond just the high level of expectation in football. And I think thank you to Miss Terry as well, because I know she's in there as part of that team. Thank you, President Bell, Greg Byrne, for the support you provide, and for those across this campus who make those educational moments, that achievement of graduation, a reality. We're here on a university campus because those educational achievements just mean more. But there's a guy behind me who once said this: when people have success, one of two things happen. They either get really satisfied and want to keep thinking about it, talking about what they did, or the success becomes a little addictive and it makes them want to keep having more. Enjoy today, enjoy the moment, but remember this: the 2018 college football season is 212 days away. The SEC championship game is 305 days away. And the college football playoff national championship is just 342 days from today. It means everybody's trying to climb that mountain. Congratulations, enjoy the success, and keep up the great achievements.
Fans, we ask that you now please turn your attention to the Nick Saban statue in the Walk of Champions. This year's captains are present to unveil the 2017 National Championship marker. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause as we unveil this new mark in Alabama football history. Now please join me in welcoming to the stage the Executive Director of the College Football Playoff, Bill Hancock. Bill?
Hey everybody, I love coming to Tuscaloosa. Every time I'm here, I'm reminded of this beautiful campus. If there were a central casting for university campuses in America, this would be it. And do not take that for granted. Let me tell you something else you should not take for granted, and that is your awesome marching band. Guys, I'm an old clarinet and sax player, and I could not be prouder than I was of your all's performance the other night. We are here at the culmination of another remarkable season for this great game that we all love so much, college football. Capped by the postseason for the ages. We are in the football business, but we're also in the memory business. And I just want to turn for a second to the guests of honor today. You guys, you and your teammates will forever be known as champions. These guys sitting around you will be your pals for the next 50 years. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. All of you will remember all this. We are in the memory business. And now it's my honor, on behalf of the conferences and institutions who together manage the college football playoff, to present the national championship trophy to Coach Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to welcome everybody here and thank you so much for the support that you've created, not only in being a part of this celebration to honor this great team and their accomplishments in 2017, but what you've done to support our team all year long. So we can't thank you enough for the support. What you do, the passion that you have is what makes being the coach at the University of Alabama and a player at the University of Alabama something that's extremely, extremely special, beyond words for me to really explain. You know, our team, our university, has an extraordinarily high standard for expectation of what we want to accomplish and what we want to do. This team has a tremendous standard for what they want to accomplish and what we want to play to on a consistent basis and how we want to represent this university. It's a level, and anything less than that is not accepted. And you know, that level has been established not just by this team, but by the previous teams that we've had that have stood up here and won championships and been champions by the way they represent this university, how they compete, and how they play. And that was very evident when there were 24 NFL players on our sidelines in a national championship game, and you could feel the spirit of each one of those guys and the expectation that they had for each one of these players. And then these players responding to that expectation with an outstanding performance to be able to come back and win a championship. So the standard of togetherness that this team has, the grit to be able to compete on a consistent basis, to finish, the perseverance to overcome adversity and the challenges that this team had to face, whether it was injuries, difficult competition, tough turnaround for the national championship game, whatever it was, their intensity to be able to focus and play one play at a time at a very high level, to be able to finish and win. I can't tell you that this team didn't meet the standard. They actually exceeded the standard because so many people contributed to what they were able to accomplish. You know, sometimes I think that all you fans out there think that these guys are some kind of superhuman student athletes. But you know what? They're really ordinary, normal student athletes that are just like every other student athlete. But they make themselves extraordinary because of the commitment that they make to the standard of excellence that they're willing to work toward and persevere toward to accomplish something special together as a group. And, you know, we have a sign that says, not to win a championship, but to be a champion. And this group probably exemplified the togetherness, the hard work, the perseverance, the positive energy that goes with being a champion. And I could never, ever be prouder of a group for what they were able to accomplish this year. And I really do think that this season and even the final game probably was a metaphor of life for us all to learn from. The challenges that the season created, the challenges that the game created, getting behind in a game, coming back in the game, losing a game and having to come back from that. The people who stepped up with the opportunities that were created because of players missing and always stepping up at a high level and to receive the challenge that they had to perform to fill in and be able to play at a level that we could still succeed. The collective leadership that these guys showed each other so that they supported each other regardless of the circumstance. They always stayed together. They always played together. And their ability to persevere, their ability to overcome adversity, the resolve that they had as a group, I think the game, the Georgia game, the national championship game, and this season is a metaphor of life that we can all learn from. And I think we all have reason to be proud of what they were able to accomplish and what they were able to overcome. Now, we have the best fans in the world. You all are the best fans in the country. Today, we have the best team in the country. And I think your support in coming out today makes this one of the best days and the best memories that each one of these young men can have, and makes all the hard work that they did worthwhile. And it's all for you. It's all for them, what they could accomplish as a team and what we can be proud of together, and the memories that we're able to create. I don't think anybody's ever going to forget. I know I'll never forget the feeling that I had when Tua takes a sack, and 1 minute later, the feeling that I had when we threw the touchdown pass. And for the seniors that are here on this team and the guys that will be leaving the team, my message after the game to them was, use the lessons that you learned in this season to help you be more successful in life. They will serve you well, because the things that you did were extremely special. And to the players that are coming back, get ready for the challenges of the future, and let everybody know that we're not finished yet. Thank you very much, and roll Tide. Thank you.
Not going to interrupt that. Not going to interrupt that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask the team, the support staff, and all the coaches to please stand, so that one more time we can congratulate your 2017 College Football Playoff National Champions.
And there you have it, Chris Stewart wrapping it up, and Freddie Mercury and Queen with "We Are the Champions." Back with Brandon Cameraman, I'm Gary Harris. It's been a great afternoon, from the weather to the parade to the national championship celebration on the Walk of Champions, capped off with Coach Saban's speech. And with Coach Saban, it's a moment of enjoyment and recognition for what this team accomplished, but he's already looking ahead to the next one.
Probably getting on the phone with some recruits right now. He's got some work to do for 2018. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be strong again next year, and we're looking forward to it, going for championship number 6 here at Alabama. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's been a great afternoon, as I said, but it's not over. Of course, thousands of fans on campus for the day, and there's a big basketball game tonight. And you know, the one thing I've noticed since Avery Johnson's gotten here is the support between Coach Johnson and Coach Saban for each other's programs. And tonight, Alabama men's basketball has a chance to win its 4th SEC game in a row, move to 5-2 in the conference at 7:30 against Mississippi State, coming off that huge win over number 17 Auburn on Wednesday night. This is a big game tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned it, coming off that win against Auburn, and right now it's about building consistency. You want to build a program that can compete. They got to do it consistently. It's a good win at Auburn, but you lose tonight and it doesn't look as good. So we heard Avery Johnson speak earlier this week, and here he is talking about building on the consistency from that win at Auburn.
We're just looking for improvement. We're looking for growth, consistent maturity, better chemistry, more commitment to details, and that's what we're after.
That tip-off tonight at Coleman Coliseum, 7:30, Alabama and Mississippi State. Make sure and tune in to WVUA 23 News at 10. Zach Tigert will have a full recap with post-game comments following that game tonight against Mississippi State. Well, Brandon, we're going to put a bow on our national championship coverage. You've been here. This is the third national championship game that you've been a part of. Your second national championship to cover, your first time to host the parade and the national championship celebration. What is your final thoughts on what occurred here this afternoon?
There was a lot of excitement about this team. This team was different. I think we can acknowledge that this was a little bit different. All the injuries, all the adversity, and I think there's this one was a little more special in some ways. And so there was just a renewed energy and excitement around this team, and the fans are out here to celebrate. It was a fun experience.
And before we leave you, a lot of people have come up to Brandon and myself today saying, I know you guys are happy to get a break. Well, not really. February 7th, the National Signing Day, the second National Signing Day, we'll have our hour-long Tider Insider Signing Day special live from inside the zone in Bryant-Denny Stadium, so make sure and join us for that. Then spring football will be here before you know it, and of course we'll have our usual Crimson Tide kickoff A-Day installment coming up on A-Day Saturday. So it really never ends, Brandon.
It doesn't, and the fans are flowing out right now, but they're going to have a lot to tune into. Like you said, football season just doesn't end, so there's still plenty for these fans to enjoy over the next coming months.
Glad you could be with us. It was our pleasure to bring you the coverage today here on WVUA 23 of Alabama's 17th National Championship celebration for the National Championship of 2017. For Brandon Cameraman and our entire WVUA 23 cast that made this possible, including Steve DiOrio and Jen Hamner back in the booth, all of our camera people, all of our technicians, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching. Roll Tide, everybody.